But guess what? Every one of these people, you'll see them come home to your state, you'll see them come home and they'll tell you how earnest they are and how the deficit is bad and big government spending is bad and we have to reduce waste. It's dishonest. They're not doing anything about the waste. The waste has been out there for probably half a century or more. Nothing's been done in the last 40 years for one precise reason. There is no oversight. You realize what they are passing is all of the money glommed together in one bill. No one will read the bill. No one knows what's in it. And there is no reform in the bill. That I can say with absolute certitude. No one will read it. No reform. Nothing gets better. The debt will grow. When the Democrats are in power, Republicans appear to be the conservative party. But when Republicans are in power, it seems there is no conservative party. You see, opposition seems to bring people together and they know what they're not for, but then they get in power and they decide, we're just going to spend that money too. We're going to send that money to our friends this time. The hypocrisy hangs in the air and chokes anyone with a sense of decency or intellectual honesty. The right cries out, our military is hollowed out, even though military spending has more than doubled since 2001. The left is no better. Democrats don't oppose the military money as long as they can get some for themselves, as long as they can get some for their pet causes. The dirty little secret is that by and large, both parties don't care about the debt. The spending bill is 700 pages, and there will be no amendments. We're going to have 0 amendments. 0, goose egg, no amendments. So it's a binary choice. They love that word. It's a binary choice. Take it or leave it. Over the past 40 years, only 4 times have we actually done 12 individual Department of Government appropriation bills. You've heard of like the Appropriation Committee. This is where the spending is. So you have like the Department of Defense, the Department of Commerce, Health and Human Services. We're supposed to pass each individual bill, and what would happen when we passed the bills, they would go through committee, and each committee would look and see, well, this spending seems to be working, we're getting a great result, and we want some more next year. And this spending appears to have been put in a closet and lit on fire, and so next year we're not giving that person who put the $10 million in the closet and lit it on fire, we're not going to give them any money. But guess what? That doesn't happen. So people keep putting your money in a closet and lighting it on fire. You've heard about FEMA. It's this emergency organization. You've heard about people without food. So there was like 300 million meals they needed, I believe, for Puerto Rico. 350 million meals. So you know who got the contract? A person that had no employees. Now raise your hand. You're not allowed to, actually. But let's say raise your hand in a figurative way if you think it's a good idea to give a contract for 350 million meals to someone who has no employees, who's not already in this business. They just know how to fill out the forms in the federal government to trick us into giving the contract. They were woefully short, and there are still people waiting in line for meals. So it's not even compassion or no compassion. It's idiocy versus more idiocy. We gave the money to somebody who doesn't do this. 350 million meals. So over the past 40 years, 4 times have we actually done the right thing. Passed 12 individual appropriation bills, bundle them together, have a budget, and try to do the right thing. You know, there's no guarantee that everybody will be wise in their spending, but it's got to be better. It can't be worse. What do we do instead? It's called a continuing resolution. We glom all the bills together in one bill, like we've done tonight, Republicans and Democrats clasping hands, and nobody's going to look at it. Nobody's going to reform the spending. As a consequence, wasteful spending is riddled throughout your government. Only 4 times in 40 years have we done the appropriation process the way we're supposed to. Recently, they did a Pentagon study. It's the beginning of an audit, and they audited a part of the Pentagon. This partial audit shows that $800 million was misplaced or lost. Just $800 million. I don't think they actually put it in a closet and burned it, but they can't find it. A while back, they looked at some of the military expenditures, and they had $29 billion worth of stuff they couldn't find. Overall, the audit found that over $100 billion in waste was found at the Pentagon, $100 billion. Well, their budget's like $700 billion. So, we're talking about a significant, over a 10%, problem with figuring out waste. But it doesn't get any better because we don't vote on all these things individually and we don't parse out the difference. I'll give you another example. The Department of Defense, last year, we found this out, spent $45 million on a natural gas station in Afghanistan. $45 million. It was projected to cost $500,000. 86 some odd overruns, of cost overruns, $45 million. So you're scratching your head and you're saying, natural gas station, what is that? We don't have one in my town. We don't have any in my town either. They didn't have any in Afghanistan. But you know what? They decided that they needed to reduce the carbon footprint of Afghanistan. All right? They wanted to reduce the carbon footprint of Afghanistan. I thought the military's job was to kill the enemy. So the military's job now is to reduce their carbon footprint? So they bought a $45 million gas station that serves up natural gas, and guess what they discovered? They kept waiting. So there's a guy sitting next to the pump. You can imagine him sitting on a stool, and he's waiting for customers. No one ever came. And then someone said, oh my goodness, they don't have any cars that run on natural gas. They live in a primitive state in Afghanistan, and you're expecting them to have natural gas cars? So they said, well, gosh, we already built this $45 million gas station. Maybe we should buy them some cars. So they bought them some cars with your money. They paid for the gas station with your money. Now they bought them some cars with your money. But then the people still wouldn't come in. They said, we don't have any money. And they said, okay, well, we've got the gas station. We've got your cars. You need a credit card. So we gave them credit cards. So they have a U.S. credit card that you pay for to take their natural gas car that you paid for to go to a natural gas station because we're reducing the carbon footprint in Afghanistan. When did that become the job of the military? And why does that go on year after year after year, the waste? For 17 years, we've been trying to get the Pentagon to be audited. And you know what their response has been? Hey, we're too big to be audited. How's that for your government? Your government telling you they're too big to be audited and that scrutiny's not, that's just not your business. Is it any wonder, really? It surprises me sometimes it's not worse, but is it any wonder that our debt's a $20 trillion debt?